Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and since I kind of already said fuck it for this year and started doing TBRs, I thought I might as well try my hand at book hauls as well. But I don't want to do monthly book hauls or anything because I don't feel like I really get enough books in a month. So I'm just going to do seasonal book hauls. And this will be, of course, my winter book haul since March is almost over. And I probably won't get any more books by the end of March because of everything that's going on. My book buying ban isn't working as well as last year. I have already gotten 16 books so far this year, and I have actually, I'm proud of myself, read most of them so far, or I'm currently reading them. And yeah, let me just jump right into them and share all of them with you. I will try not to get into my thoughts on those books because even if I have already read them, I did do wrap-ups for all of them, or most of them, so yeah, not really useful to wrap up my thoughts here, and it would get very long. But the first book I got this year was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I have read this already, I rated it 5 stars, and I absolutely love this. This is a retelling of the Iliad, or Achilles' part of the Iliad, and centers around his and Patroclus' relationship. Then I got books 4 and 5 in the Wheel of Time series, which are The Shadow Rising and Fires of Heaven. I will not get into what the Wheel of Time is about because that's way too complicated, but of course it's one of my goals this year to finish this series, so I had to get 2 of the books at least so far, and I am behind already. But I'm sure you'll see the rest of the series in other book hauls to come. Then I got, I think this is book 22 in the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series, Affliction. The Anita Blake series follows Anita Blake, of course, who is a vampire executioner, so she kills vampires for a living. She also helps the police with preternatural crimes, and she is an animator, so she can raise zombies. And every book kind of just follows a different crime kind of that she has to solve. I mean, the earlier books do anyway. The later books mostly follow her sexual escapades with her boyfriends. Yes, that was plural. And I have, of course, also already read this. Another book that I also have already read is Lady Hotspur by Tessa Gretton. This is the kind of sequel to Queens of Innislia. It's not directly a sequel, but it's set in the same world about 150 years later. This is a retelling of Shakespeare's Henry IV, and we follow 3 different women. 2 of those are the current heir to a throne of a country and the former heir to a throne of a country after the throne was usurped, obviously. And the 3rd woman is someone whose loyalties are kind of caught between the 2 others. Hearts of Fierce and Broken, book 2 in the Cursebreaker series by Bridget Kemmerer. I have also already read this, and it's the worst sequel that I have ever read. This series, or at least the first book, is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. We follow 2 characters. One of them is Prince Ren, who has been cursed to relive the same season over and over again. And at the end of that season, he turns into a monster and basically kills everyone. And of course, his curse can only be broken by true love. Beauty and the Beast retelling again. And the second character is Harper, who is a girl from our world who is kind of kidnapped and whose mission it kind of is now to break the curse. Then I got Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd short story collection in the Shadowhunters universe. This short story collection, just like the Bane Chronicles, kind of focuses on Magnus Bane, and Tales from Shadowhunter Academy focuses on Simon Lewis. This collection focuses on Jem Carstairs and kind of his life after the Infernal Devices up to where we are in the series now. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I read it as well already, and I love Jem, and if you love the Shadowhunters series, I would highly recommend this. I also got The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski, which is the first book in the Witcher series. This is also a short story collection. The first 2 books in the Witcher series are short story collections. We're kind of introduced to Geralt, who is the Witcher, which means he is like a magically mutated human to make him better able to kill monsters. And it's his job to kill monsters for money. And yeah, I really enjoyed this first book. I really want to finish the whole series if I can this year, and I think so far I'm like on the right path and again, I read it already and I did really enjoy it. Then I have Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim, which I think is also the first book in a new series. I wouldn't know, because I actually DNF'd this book because I really didn't like it. So the money I spent on this book kind of went down the drain. But anyway, this is a retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo, and it's gender bent, so our main character is female, obviously, as you could probably tell from the cover. And yeah, Count of Monte Cristo, it's supposedly an epic revenge story, but it's not really. Next, I got book 3 in the Invisible Library series, which is The Burning Page by Genevieve Cogman. I also already read this again, and like, the spine is already really fucked up. This series is set in a world where there's like multiple parallel universes that are all different versions with their own histories of our world. So that means that, for example, there's one world that's set still in the Middle Ages, there's one world that's set in the Renaissance, there's one world that's modern times, there's another world where the British Empire never rose as the British Empire and instead the Chinese have all the power, and so on. And we follow Irene, who is a librarian, which means she belongs to the library, which is kind of this entity in between all the worlds. And her job is to steal rare and unique books. And yeah, it's a really fun ride. I can highly recommend the whole series, and I did also enjoy this 3rd installment. I also have already read Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the last hours. And I told you, I'm really good at my goal of like reading all the books that I'm getting right away, as long as it's not the Wheel of Time, apparently. But yeah, I enjoyed this as well. I really enjoyed this new installment to the Shadowhunters universe, and the characters we follow in this book are the children from all the characters from the Infernal Devices. And it's a Shadowhunter book. It's fun and it's easy to read, and like, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Next, I have Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. This, of course, is book 2 in the Witcher series. I'm not done with this yet, but I'm about a third of the way into it. I'm like 150 pages in. This has about 400 pages, this book. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I like the first one a bit more though, but again, this isn't a review, this isn't the wrap-up. So yeah, got Sword of Destiny, and I'm probably going to get the 3rd and the 4th book at least by the next book haul. Then next I have The Winter Duke by Claire Eliza Bartlett, and in this book we follow this girl who is a daughter of this duke, and her brother is supposed to be heir to the dukedom. However, one day her whole family falls asleep and no one can wake them up again. And so the dukedom kind of falls to her, and she has to work her way out of this mess while also constantly fighting against her father's ministers and like advisors, and also marrying her brother's warrior bride. I have also already read this and I really didn't like it. Then I have Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. I have also already read this and I luckily did enjoy it, and I only noticed when I started reading it that I had already read this book before, but in German, which is why I didn't know that I had formally already owned and read this book. And in this book we follow Yelena, who is on her way to her execution when she is made an offer, and that offer is that she is pardoned if she becomes the food taster of this commander. And I'm excited to finish this series, hopefully this year as well. Next, I got my most anticipated release of this year, and that is of course The Queen's Bargain by Anne Bishop. This is book 10 in the Black Jewel series, although I'm not sure if you can really call it a series because it's actually a trilogy plus 7 spin-offs, kind of, and short story collections and so on. The series is set in this world which society has been corrupted and perverted to its core. However, one day there's a prophecy that the living myth Dreams Made Flesh witch will come. That's witch with a capital W. And we follow, not witch, but we follow a few characters whose lives will forever be changed because of the coming of witch. And yeah, I love the series. It's obviously my favorite series of all time. Like, I haven't talked about that enough on my channel. And I already read it, obviously, again. I started it right away. And I have to say I was a little bit disappointed by it, but I'm still so happy to finally have another book in the series, and my guess is there's probably more to come. And then the last book I got so far in this quarter of the year is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. I've heard so much about this series, and a lot of people that I watch whose opinions I trust like highly praise this. This apparently follows this old gang of warriors, and in this world warrior gangs are kind of like rock bands and like everyone loves them. However, this band is past their primes, but they have to pick their swords back up after the daughter of one of them is kidnapped. At least that's like what I gathered so far from the summary and from what I've heard other people talk about this book. And yeah, I have not read this yet, but I'm definitely going to read this next month. I think my Owls TBR will probably be up already by the time I'm going to upload this, so you might already know that this one is on my TBR for April. Hello, this is Sarah from the future, and I actually kind of lied saying that I didn't have any more books coming in March, because the books that I ordered for the Magical Readathon arrived earlier than thought, so I'm just gonna put this little clip in here and show you those 3 books as well. The first book I ordered for the Magical Readathon is The Lost Plot by Genevieve Cogman. This of course is another book in an Invisible Library series. It's book 4, and I'm very excited to get to it in April. Then I also got To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This is a YA standalone high fantasy novel that's a retelling of The Little Mermaid, and we follow 2 characters. One of them is a mermaid who has been cursed to walk on land, and to get back into the sea she has to steal the heart of a prince, like literally rip out his heart. And the other character, of course, is said prince, who has made it his mission to kill mermaids. And so it's an enemies to lovers story, and very romance focused probably. And then the last book I got is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa, and I do not feel comfortable like summarizing what this book is about, so I'm just gonna read you the back of the book. And the back says, "To the people on the island, a disappeared thing no longer has any meaning. It can be burned in the garden, thrown in the river, or handed over to the memory police. Soon enough, the island forgets it ever existed. When a young novelist discovers that her editor is in danger of being taken away by the memory police, she desperately wants to save him. For some reason, he doesn't forget, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for him to hide his memories. Who knows what will vanish next?" So this is a kind of dystopian literary fiction novel, and it sounds really interesting, and I'm really excited to get into it. And now, back to past Sarah. And yeah, that's it. That's the 16 books I bought so far this year. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up, and also maybe subscribe. All the links to my social media are in the description box down below. Tell me in the comments down below if you have read any of the books that I bought so far this year. Do you plan to buy any of the books that I bought, like especially new releases? And with that said, I hope I'll see you soon. Stay healthy, stay safe, and bye!